Hello guys, this is a review of Venom The Last Dance. I got a chance to watch an early screening in theaters with my siblings. I've watched the first one, I'd say 4 to 5 times max, and the second one I only watched once when it released originally in theaters. I'm not a very big fan of Marvel movies or comic adaptations, so I don't have an in-depth and very informed opinion about this. This is more my feeling um, of the movie as I watched it live. So, this movie obviously follows the story of Eddie and Venom. They are still together. They are trapped in a bar in Mexico, and this is something that I'm not exactly sure how it came to be, but they are kind of transferring from one reality to another reality. I'm not exactly sure how. Anyway, the movie starts with this demon looking character named Knull. He is trying to destroy the world, and he's actually the creator of the symbiotes. So he was very powerful, but at one point the symbiotes took over and entrapped him. So he needs something called a codex. A codex is this orange looking thing that forms when the host dies and the symbiote pairs with him, like brings him back to life. Then they create this thing called the codex, and obviously Venom and Eddie have that. So he sends some what are they called, Xeno something, well, these dog looking hellish creatures to chase after them. And that's what the movie's about. They're on the run trying to clear their name because they're accusing Eddie of the death of um, this one guy, I think Ed X Strickland, whatever, not important. And they actually capture him and pair him with the symbiote. So it's kind of a little hazy because, like I said, I didn't rewatch the second movie. But anyway, another big story arc is that of this scientist who had a twin brother, and they had big aspirations in the science field, but he got struck by lightning as he was holding her hand. He died, she didn't, so she has kind of lightning marks. That's going to be important um, for one of my comments in the end. And then there's also this military guy. um, I think he's the guy whose name is Strickland. Anyway, whatever. I'm just gonna call him the military guy, right? Anyway, so Eddie's on the run, meets this hippie family, and that's the comedic relief of the movie. In the end, they end up in Area 51, where the hippie guy wanted to go to see if there were extraterrestrials of sorts, and he found them. The movie ends in a big clash with the symbiotes in that secured area, pairing with humans, so the doctors that were there. We see the two main female doctors, the one with the electricity thing, and her friend. We see, well, basically all the symbiotes over there pair up at some point to try to stop the those creatures from getting Eddie in the cortex. They know that if one of them dies, Eddie or Venom, then Knull can't do anything because he won't have the cortex because it gets destroyed. But they put up a really, really, really big fight because they know that the symbiotes are not there to cause harm, they're actually there to help out. And in the very end, Venom sacrifices himself by pouring like this acid like green thing on him while he's holding down those dog looking things. And that's how the movie ends. The movie ends with Eddie looking at the Statue of Liberty, saying that he won't forget his friend. Obviously, this is just in a nutshell, very summarized. Let's talk about some of the things that I didn't like. One of the things that I didn't like was that Eddie is still very distraught at having Venom with him. He knows that Venom is there because they've spent a year, as I mentioned, but he's still acting yeah, very hungover, very paranoid, very anxious. I talked about this with my sister when we left the theater. Said he's still not accustomed to being paired with him, it seems. I don't know if it's his constant drinking, um, because my brother, he's a little kid, he also mentioned he should probably stop drinking, and that's probably true. So I don't really know, but it kind of takes away from the brotherhood that they have, and kind of makes audience members, at least me and my sister, made us kind of anxious because he's always on edge. He's always, you know, when somebody tells you that something bad is going to happen, or you know something bad is going to happen, but not exactly when. Like, let's say watching a very scary horror movie, and you know it's coming, and you're like, and it's very uncomfortable. That kind of feeling is what I get from his constant complaining of being with Venom, and so unappreciative too. There's a scene when they're running like through the mountains, and Venom's like, we've been together for like a year. He's like, a year too long. Like, so ungrateful. He saved your life. You guys have been through so much, and there's not a lot of support. Obviously, at the very core, they're very, very tight. They're like one, they're very good friends. But it would be better if he kind of relaxed a little bit and got, I don't know, made better use of having such a strong thing with you. Sorry, he doesn't like being called like alien or thing or stuff. So, anyway, that's that. Another thing that I didn't like, that scientist that whose twin brother died that I mentioned earlier with the electricity. She carried a container with a symbiote, right? There's this battle going down of like those dog looking creatures with all the symbiotes, and it's back and forth, and a lot of death of humans, death of symbiotes, because those creatures are very, very strong. Tell me why that scientist waited till the very, very last possible minute to turn into one. And she gets like lightning speed, and she looks very cool, very purple. We could call her like the purple symbiote. But she waited till the very last minute. And sure, I know that they needed to make reference of how her brother died and how she's gonna save her friend, scientist, because she lost her symbiotes. But come on, like, the lives of people were in her hands, essentially, because she's so powerful. But she waited till the very, very last second. And I don't think that they ever mentioned why she was adamant about doing it, because from the very beginning, I mean, pairing with the symbiotes, because in the very beginning, she is like supporting them. Now, the military guy, he got on my nerves so bad. There's a scene where Eddie and Venom end up being thrown to a lake, a lake with or a river with very strong current and a waterfall nearby, and they're trying essentially to destroy them. They want to kill them so that the cortex is destroyed. During the struggle, Eddie is underwater, and one of the agents comes in with, like, they all have oxygen tanks or some sort of oxygen machine, and Eddie takes it off and shoots one of them because that person is holding him down. So in the movie, he's like, "You killed one of mine. Now I'm gonna kill you," or something like that. That's so dumb because you were the one who was chasing after him first, Doofus. If you weren't chasing after him, then he wouldn't have died. It just doesn't make any sense. There's another scene where the scientist sees that he's about to shoot him with is it a bazooka? I don't know. And he's like, "Don't do it." He does it anyway, blows up his own people. And the creature just comes back together because they could reform easily. And that's just two examples. He messes up bad in every sense of the word. At one point, he was actually going to just murder in cold blood um, Eddie and the symbiotes and do whatever he wanted. He kind of fired, in a way, the scientist, but luckily, the scientist friend that I mentioned, she was a green symbiote. She had already paired with Venom, so that's how they end up saving Eddie. But it's so, so, so unfortunate. I also don't understand how, when they meet Mrs. Chen, I think, in the casino, Venom really wants to dance, and I know that he rarely gets his way because Eddie's always kind of like in control, like don't. But do you really have to dance when you know that if you come into full form, those creatures are gonna track you? That's the only way that they could track Eddie and Venom is if he completely takes over Eddie's body. And they have a little dance which I love. I mean, Dancing Queen by ABBA is great, but was it really worth it? And then that hippie guy, they sing. This is a moment that I really like. They start singing. Oh my gosh, Space Oddity by David Bowie. I think I know the song. Trust me, I really like the song. I've seen it. The one other movie that I've seen it in, it's called Crazy. Such a great film, and I love the song. It's very sad, and within the context of the movie, it's even more sad. You know that they're kind of alluring to Venom dying, and especially with the title, obviously, right? So that's another thing. They, mm, I feel like the death of Venom is very extreme. They didn't really do everything that they wanted, and they purposefully said that, Venom mentions, hey, let's go see the Lady Liberty in New York. And Eddie keeps saying, yeah, we're gonna go see it, but no, they don't go see it. Mind you, in the end credits, so there are, and obviously spoilers because there's spoilers, it's in the title. Anyway, one of the post end credits, um, the Knull creature demon guy, he's like, I'm gonna take over the world or something, kind of like a little jump scare. And then after the final credits roll, we see the Mexican dude with long hair from the bar running around this completely destroyed landscape where they had the battle, and a roach walking around, kind of like it could be Venom. I mean, throughout the whole movie, I thought that at one point we were gonna see the scientist's brother who got struck by lightning, and I was like, as a joke, I was like, I think the roach is her brother, but I know she mentioned something about roaches living for millions and millions of years, during one point in the movie, but or at one point in the movie, but I think it's Venom. It's just I'm not sure. But anyway, I felt like the movie was prolonged. I don't like those movies of, yeah, get your guns and we're gonna plan this out. And then the very last 15 minutes is action, and then the whole movie is about them how planning on how to track something down or someone. Those movies are pew 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 are very, very boring to me. And Venom the Last Dance unfortunately has a lot of that. I know that you have to build a solid base, build a strong foundation and build interest for the secondary characters who sometimes even felt like they were the primary characters at times. That's what I did. I went to watch a Venom movie because I wanted to see the interactions between Eddie and Venom. And that's why I mentioned the whole brotherhood thing. I wanted them to do more, to see more, to fight more, to laugh more, to engage with one another. And we don't get to see that until the very end because most of the time it's kind of like a chase, and it has its fun parts like when Venom converts to or pairs with the horse, and that's fun, that's awesome. Some of the fight scenes were cool, but for the most part I feel like they focused a lot on the scientist. They focused a lot on kind of like the comedy aspect of it, which doesn't hit as much because we just don't really get to see Venom interact too much with people. It's more Eddie and him fighting over the control of him. I don't know, but like I feel if they're gonna kill Venom, then they should have given them, the spotlight to live out a lot more than they did, instead of prolonging it so much about, yes, we're gonna search them down and F the symbiotes and this and that. Also, so the movie has an R rating, if I'm not mistaken, because I saw that months ago before it came out, obviously. And I think it's more so the explicitness of the words, the bad words that they use. And sure, like when the demon creatures are biting off heads, it's a lot more explicit than before, especially because they shoot out the blood from the back of their heads. But I was hoping for more terror and more gruesome battles, more action. I don't know. I'm being very, very, very picky, but that's what I was hoping for. It started off really, really strong, honestly. Knull is a scary dude. My brother had to like be on the phone because it was just way too scary. And I mean, if you're scared of horror movies as a kid, then this movie is probably not the best for you. But I would urge you, if you are into action movies and you love Venom, just watch it in broad daylight and you'll be good. Because that makes the entire difference, especially when you're young. But anyway, very cool character. No, I wish, like when we were introduced to him in the very beginning, I thought this movie's gonna kick butt. This movie's gonna be awesome. He's going to like start doing some crazy gymnastics and versus Venom, and it just never happened. Um, so I was a little bit disappointing. All in all, though, it wasn't bad. I make it sound like it's bad. I just have a lot of complaints, but it wasn't bad. It had a lot of heart. It was very, very sad. It's always sad, like as it is in real life, when you know that someone is passing who really, really doesn't want to pass and who has a lot of goals and who has a lot to do, and it's inevitable at times and you just have to learn to let go. I feel like they could have also done something to kind of nurture the audience's hearts, because all we see is Eddie say like I'll never forget you, because Venom said that he was never going to forget him. But I feel like maybe he could they could show him kind of blossoming and happy, and always like carrying like a little pendant with with Venom's face on it or something. But actually, I forgot to mention, it's very important. When Eddie woke up in the hospital after the whole battle, after Venom's sacrifice, you see this guy, high ranked guy, come in and tell him, okay, Eddie, since you did such a good deed for humanity, we're gonna um, absolve you of your responsibilities. But if you say anything about Venom or symbiotes to anybody, yeah, you're never gonna see daylight again. Like, we're gonna get you. So he's not allowed to share any of his experiences. So probably a pennant wouldn't be the best thing to have, but I don't know, some sort of stronger emotional closure, because it just feels like he's going to be sad for the rest of his life. And sometimes when you lose someone, obviously you're never going to forget, but you should continue with life, because life keeps going and eventually we will all get there. So uh do what you can with the time that you have. And I wish they would have shown that. There's a lot of funny moments. I love the dancing was so well choreographed. Like Eddie was like, "When did you guys have time to practice?" Because that's also what I was thinking. I love the song. I wish they would have used the original, but I understand it's a lot of money. I love the sing along in the truck with the hippie guy on David Bowie song. I loved the action scenes are always fantastic. Venom, the character is great. The um, the effects were on point. I have no complaint about that. I mean, that's kind of why I went to watch it. I love how sinister Knull is. I've mentioned that his look is also very crazy. When I was watching it, I was remembering, because my brother was sitting next to me and my sister next to him. I kept remembering when I was a little kid and I would watch uh what is it called, Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver on PlayStation. The real ones will know what I'm talking about. If you watch that intro, PlayStation 1 by the way, you'll see that Kain was such a threatening beast, and I remember being so traumatized by him. And now it's kind of like, wow, like you're a big boy, me, because I'm watching this other terrifying creature with much better animation, and it's kind of like, wow, I'm really an adult now. Or like, I mean, there's a lot of adults that can't handle horror, but hey, I have a channel for that. I'm used to it. But it was kind of like, I don't know, going back in time and seeing it through his eyes. So I really understand the fear. So like I said, if you're scared or you're younger, just watch it during the daylight. Let's see what else. I think I touched up on the main things. Like I said, the movie's not bad. It really isn't bad. I don't want it to come across as that. It just really, I was kind of going in expecting something different. My rating would be 7 out of 10 in its category. So 5 being like, oh, whatever, blah. 6 being better, and 7 being even better than better. But still not quite up there. And I don't know. I would really want to rewatch it for sure. I'm gonna buy that one and the direct sequel on DVD or Blu-ray so I could actually give them a fair try. And we'll see if my rating changes in the future. Anyway, that's it for this one. Thank you for watching.